Howdy, hi. This is Do Your Job Sports WNBA Picks and Predictions, round one of the WNBA playoffs. We are looking at the best bets of the day. Let's get into the video. All right, first things first, got to recap the previous day's results from the final day of the WNBA regular season. 5-3 overall, bringing our season record to 355 and 351. I'm going to go over these more quickly than I normally do, just because we got playoff information to talk about, and some of these teams are no longer playing, so I really don't think they matter. Our winners, we had the Wings plus 5.5. They won the game outright. Kind of expected this to happen just because the Mercury didn't play any of their starters for greater than 19 minutes. Let's see. The starter who played the most, Satu Sabli, 19 minutes. AT played 12, Natasha Mack 16, Makani 16, and Kalia Copper 17. Then they just unloaded their bench. So clearly not favoring the Mercury. Dallas, who had Paige drop 24, Isaiah James dropped 20, Okonwo dropped 20. I mean, they won 97-76. So good job. Maybe you can do something next year. Probably not, though, because your team still sucks. Next one, we the Sky plus 11.5. With the over 158.5 at home against the Liberty. They cover. They hit the over. Final score: New York 91, Chicago 86. This game was honestly not this close. The final quarter, Chicago won 28-13. So basically what happened, New York, they were up 20. They were like, all right, we'll put all of our starters on the bench now. And then they brought in their bench players who got absolutely murdered. Shout out to Izzy Harrison, 14 minutes, 0 points, 0 of 6 from the field. Really good job. With the Aces minus 10.5, they destroyed the Sparks, 103-75. I mean, this Sparks team, you have to implode the team. Like, this same unit cannot come and play next year. You can't figure out how to play defense. I mean, you have Plum, Azare, Hamby, Rakia Jackson. How do you not know how to play defense? You have Cameron Brink, who is one of the best interior defenders in the entire league, and you're still clueless on how to play any form of defense. So I have no idea what they're doing. Shout out to the Aces, though. You end the year on a 16-game winning streak. Then at the Valkyries plus 6.5 in the over, 154.5. This might have been the worst shooting performance I've ever watched. Valkyries scored 53 points, 29% from the field, 11% from deep. They lost the rebound battle. They lost the turnover battle. This team is horrible. Of course, the one time I actually bet them, they play like this. Janelle Salon, 1 of 12. Veronica Burton, 2 of 11. Xanda Lassini, 3 of 10. Kate Martin, 0 of 3. The only one who shot above 50% on the team was Timmy Fogbenlay, who scored 6 points on 3 of 5 from the field. This team is putrid. Then with the Mercury, we had their under 165.5. This was no good, as their bench players gave up 97 to the Wings. That total landed at 173. All right, that's the recap. Let's get on to the picks for tomorrow. All right, we are on to the games. So firstly, before we talk about them, I will mention how the structure of the first round works in terms of who gets home court. So normally, or I guess should I say previously in the WNBA seasons, the higher seeded team would get 2 home games. So if you won those first 2, you wouldn't even have to play a third. You won the series, you moved on and advanced. Now, it is still a best of 3. However, it goes the higher seeded team gets 1 home game. Then they go on the road, they play at the lower seeded team. Then if there is a third game needed, they go back to the higher seeded team's home court. So this would go Lynx to Golden State, back to Minnesota. So that is a lot of traveling, but they've added an extra travel day in between. So that is why this is going to take a little bit longer than normal if there is a third game necessary. First game, Lynx at home to the Valkyries. Give me the Lynx. Give me the over 147.5. It is kind of hard to take an over that's 147.5 because these teams scored 125 points just 2 days ago. But I'm going to do it because I cannot lay 12.5 while also taking an under. Those two things that sounds illegal to me, so I'm not going to do it. Valkyries, 23-21 in the year. Very good for a first-year expansion team. However, I think they suck. They're too reliant on the 3-ball. The previous game against the Lynx, they lost while only scoring 53 points. They shot 29% from the field. That is not from deep. That is not a typo. 29% from anywhere you want and 11% from deep. They went 3 of 27 from the beyond the arc. You could blindfold me naked, put me at mid-court, and just have me chucking in any direction, and I think 3 of them would go in. Legitimately. I think I could do that. I don't think this is going to be a good series for the Valkyries. Mismatch basically every single position. The only one you could argue is Veronica Burton, but then you really can't even argue that because she's going up against Courtney Williams, who is just the better version of Veronica Burton. Can distribute, has a good mid-game, and rebounds. That is Courtney Williams. So they have the lesser player at every single spot on the court. Lynx, 34-10 on the year. Everyone is everyone is healthy. The only person that is questionable is Dejanay Carrington. I'm not really sure if they're even going to need her, though. I think the most ideal thing for them, you win this series in 2, you keep Dejanay on the bench until you need her in the next round. I think it's just going to have to be the option they take here. They're the better team. I think they win this game by a ton. The previous game where they played them, they only scored 72 points, but if you actually look at it, they could have scored probably 90 if they just would have been able to shoot the ball. 43% from the field, 32% from deep, 56% from the free throw line, and they turned it over 17 times. You clean some of that up and make a few more shots, that's easily 86, 87 points. So I will take the Lynx and the over, give me a 93-68 win for Minnesota. All right, next game we got, it is the Indiana Fever hitting the road. I'm going to take the Dream minus a 7.5. I'm going to rock the under 158.5. This game tips at 3 o'clock. You have one team who is banged up, missing their best player, and you have the other team who is 100% healthy and ended the year on a 6-game winning streak. I do not think Atlanta drops a game. Fever 24-20 in the regular season. Serious matchup problems down low. I mean, you have Aaliyah Boston and Natasha Howard challenged with guarding a combination of Bree Jones and Brittany Griner. I do not think that is going to go well. The Fever really they only have one offensive spark that is most of the time pretty consistent in Kelsey Mitchell. The rest are a bunch of question marks. Well, I mean, I don't know what you think on Odyssey Sims, but I don't think she's very good. You have Lexi Hall. What's she gonna... Wait, isn't Odyssey Sims injured? What am I talking about? All right, pause. Odyssey Sims is not injured. I'm just an idiot. I just assumed she was injured because everyone on this team can't stay healthy. But other than that, maybe Natasha Howard can get something going offensively, but I really don't think so. I mean, this Dream team is going to be locked down defensively. It's going to be very difficult to score on Bree Jones plus BG down low. Then at the guard position, they're mismatched. These Atlanta guards are big. Ryan Howard's like 6'2". Alicia Gray is not small. The only person on their team who's actually small is Jordan Canada. Everyone else, you're going to have trouble getting around. So, the Dream, they finished the year 6-game win streak, back to full strength. 2-2 against the Fever this year. This is, however, their first time meeting since literally the entire Indiana Fever team just fell off the side of a cliff and got injured. So we'll see what they look like against a banged-up Fever team. I will take the Dream minus a 7.5. I will take the under 158.5. Give me Atlanta Dream 82, Indiana Fever 67. All right, next game we got. I mean, this is easily the most disrespectful line of the day. The Mercury are a dog at home to an insanely overrated New York Liberty team. Give me Phoenix plus 2. Give me the over 164.5. This one tips off 5 o'clock. I'm still trying to process how the Mercury are a dog. Like, it's almost as if Vegas just didn't watch the Liberty be horrible at basketball for the final month and a half of the season. This team sucks. Liberty, 1-3 straight up against the Mercury this year. Why are they laying points on the road? This second half, they have looked atrocious. Not to mention, they're still kind of banged up. I know their injury report is clean, but for certain stretches of this season, you've seen Jonquel Jones miss time, Breanna Stewart miss time, Sabrina miss time. If any one of those players goes down in this game and they're down to 2 of 3, we've seen them been disgustingly bad at basketball when they're all not on the court. And even when they are on the court, I still question who's actually scoring. Sabrina has been horrid from deep this year. Breanna Stewart can't shoot the 3 ball. The most reliable 3-point shooters they have, Jonquel Jones, who is your starting center, and then Emma Meesman, who is coming off of the bench. So how are you putting Ball in hoop? The answer, I don't know. The Mercury, they ended their regular season on a 3-game losing streak, but that's fraudulent. They were sitting their players basically the entire second halves of games. They knew they were locked into this playoff seeding where they'd be home against the Liberty. So there was no real reason to push it in the final games of the day. Lights out at home this year. If you're talking about who I trust more, the answer is Alyssa Thomas, Satu Sabali, and Kalia Copper. Way more than anybody on this New York Liberty team. Phoenix will be rocking. I like them. I like their coach, unlike Sandy Brandello. I really like Phoenix's coach. Give me the Mercury. Give me the over, 164.5. All right, final game of the night before we get to the player props. Seattle Storm hit the road, head into Vegas, take on the Aces. I'm going to rock with the Aces minus 6.5. I'm also going to take the over 159.5. This one tips off 10 o'clock Eastern. This is probably the hardest game for me to actually pick just because 6.5 points is a lot of points to be laying against a veteran team as the Seattle Storm are. But the Storm have been horrible, and they have the worst head coach in the league. So I will lay the 6.5 with the team that has won 16 points in a row, but I don't necessarily love it. Storm, they have not been impressive literally at all since the All-Star break, which is weird because that is basically when they picked up Sykes to help this team. Their main reason in being so bad is they can't shoot the basketball. Not a single person on their team is reliable from deep. Skylar Diggins? No. Sykes? No. Gabby Williams? Hell no. Ezzy? No. NECA? Also no. Not a single person. The only person who can shoot it with a modicum of respect is Erica Wheeler, and she comes off the bench. So, who's putting it in the hoop? I don't know. Aces, 30-14 on the year, ended the game on a 16-game winning streak. They were 14-14. They're now 30-14. 2-2 against the Storm straight up this year. However, one of those losses, they did not have Asia, so you can kind of throw that one out. So realistically, 2-1. You can't fade them at home. They're 17-5. Becky Hammond has really figured out what to do with Jewel Lloyd. They're just the better team. They also have what is her name again? Cheyenne Parker-Tyus. They have her back from pregnancy. So she gave birth 2 months ago, and she is fully ready again to play basketball. So shout out to Cheyenne Parker-Tyus. All right, 2 player props. These are going to be quick because this video is already too long. PRA over 33.5. She's been struggling to hit this number recently, but that's mostly because the Mercury have been limiting her minutes. Once she actually gets into playoff games, she might play all 40. Legitimately might not come out of this game. She's conditioned enough. They're going to call timeouts. She's going to have the ball every single time on the court. Should be a decent amount of rebounds with how bad the Liberty are in offense. So give me the over, 33.5. All right, and then next we got Bree Jones. Give me her points and rebounds over 20.5. The last time she played the Indiana Fever at home, she went for 21 points and 10 rebounds. So she hit her PR on just points alone. The Indiana Fever do not have the size to deal with her down low. I mean, it's Bree Jones versus Aaliyah Boston. Just look at them and tell me how that is going to go. The answer is not well for Aaliyah Boston. Indiana Fever also struggle to shoot the ball, especially on the road, so there should be a decent amount of rebounds for her to grab. Give me Brianna Jones, points and rebounds, over 20.5. All right, that's going to do it for me in this video. I appreciate you guys tuning in and watching, and I will catch you on Sunday night. Peace.